Okay, so as I said, starting laying down on your backs. So if we've got a niggly lower back, then keep the knees bent, feet on the floor and mat distance apart, and then let the knees knock together. Otherwise, we can extend the legs long, take the heels to about mat distance apart, and bring your arms out by your side with your palms facing upwards. So we're taking the limbs kind of away from the midline of the body. So we're able to open up through the shoulders and through the hips. Just have a few little movements and wiggles and fidgets to get into a position where you feel nice and comfortable. And then take a nice big deep breath in through the nostrils. Open the mouth and just sigh that breath out. Do that a few more times. And with each exhale, allow yourself to sink deeper down into the mat. Just releasing any tension that you brought with you. Inviting in relaxation on the inhale, and then just exhaling, getting rid of what we don't need. And then settling, closing the eyes if you wish. And just breathing in and out. Noticing the length of the breath. We are going to deepen and lengthen the breath for our practice, but do that when you're ready. So take a few moments just to see what's going on for you. And this last week I've been talking about meeting yourself at your mat. It's a phrase that we use quite a lot in yoga. And it basically means that you arrive at your mat as you are. So physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically. However you turn up at your mat, just accept that that's how you are at this moment. But it's good to just check in with yourself on all levels before you start moving. Just to see if there's anything that you need to be aware of through your practice. Whether it's an injury that you need to protect, or whether it's, if you're feeling quite emotional, just being aware of that perhaps. If you're feeling like your head space is crazy busy, then maybe you need to work on grounding yourself through your practice. At the moment, we've all got so much stuff going on that it's good to maybe focus on grounding during your practice every now and again. So the best way to do that is when you're in postures and when you remember is to take note and be aware of the contact of your body on the ground. So at the moment you have got the back of the body on the mat, the arms, perhaps the back of the arms, the back of the legs, the back of the head. So you've got a lot of your body in contact with the ground, and just really connect in with the earth beneath you. But you can also do that when you're in balancing postures by noticing the foundations of every posture that you're in. It's a really good grounding exercise to do. Maybe that's what you'd like to focus on today. But for whatever reason you came to your mat, just take some more deep inhales and exhales. Kind of congratulating yourself for arriving here for your practice today as well. Well done for making the effort to put that time aside for yourself. And then on your next inhale, just make some small movements with your fingers and your toes just to reawaken the physical body. Then take your arms up and over your head for a full body stretch. So extending the arms to the back of the mat, pointing the toes to the top edge of the mat. So nice pencil stretch, pull the belly in. So trying to push the lower back down into the floor, and then extend yourself a little bit further if you can. And then reach the right arm higher. See if you can reach the right arm higher than the left. And then reach the left arm even higher. So stretching up through the left side. And then do again on the right. So extending through the right side. So even from your right toes all the way up to your right fingertips, extend and lengthen. And then do the left side once more. Left arm, left fingertips all the way down to your toes. Extend through the side of the body. And then just carefully release. Bring your knees into your chest. So we're hugging the knees in, taking hold just below the knees and rocking from side to side. Then holding behind the thighs, take your legs up towards the ceiling. They may or may not straighten. doesn't matter. And flex and point the feet, circling the ankles one way then the other, just releasing any clicks that are going on in our ankle joints. And then point your toes. So point your toes and then flex your feet and open up your toes. See if you can move your toes away from each other. So you've got a gap between each of the toes. And then again, point the toes. Flex. One more circle of the ankles. Bring your knees in nice and tight to the chest. Then start rocking and rolling forward and back. And we're going to come up into a seated position. It's a really nice massage of the spine when we rock and roll. And then come to seated. When you are ready, take a cross-legged. Doesn't matter which leg is forward, whichever one feels most comfortable for you. And then rise your arms up towards the ceiling. Interlace your fingers, push them up and away from you. Good. And then as you exhale, bring the hands in front of you so the palms face and round the spine. Bring the chin into the chest. Good. Releasing the right hand onto the left knee. Take your left hand behind you and twist over to the right, over to the left side. So grow tall on the inhale, and as you exhale, push against the knee to twist a little bit further. Good. Come back to center. Inhale your arms up, interlace your fingers, push them up and away. Exhale, bring the hands in front, palms face you round the spine. Pull the belly in, drop your chin down to your chest. Really curl your spine here, opening up the shoulder blades. And then as you release, bring the left hand onto that right knee, right hand behind you, and then twisting around to the right. Inhale, grow taller. Exhale, twist deeper. And then bring it back to center. Let's slowly walk our fingertips forward. So walk them as far forward as you can. So keep reaching them, and then when they can't go any further, don't lift your bottom off the floor. Just drop the head down towards your shins or to the mat. It may or may not touch. Good. Take a breath here. Can you creep them a little bit further forward? And then bring yourself back up into your seated. Let's change the leg. So bring the other leg in front. So just changing our cross leg position. This one always feels a little bit weird. One side feels better than the other. And then lift up on the inhale. So grow as tall as you can. Pull the belly in. So lift up and out of the rib cage. Drop the left hand down. Reach the right arm over for a side body stretch. Now we can come down onto forearms, but we don't want this hip to lift. Keep the sitting bone down. So if going onto your forearm, lift your sitting bone, then come back. And then just reach over, go a little bit deeper if you can. Your head, just look forward is fine. And then bring it back to center. Let's go to the other side. So nice stretch. These are really good stretches, especially if we've been in a seated position every day, all day. Sitting at a screen, just a nice way to really lengthen out through the spine. And then inhale, bring it up, interlace your fingers, push them up and away. So we'll do one more rounding of the spine. Bring the hands in front of you and round, chin to chest. Pull the belly button back. Good. Release into neutral, walking those fingertips forward again. Creep them forward and keeping the sit bones grounded. Let the head come down towards the shin or the floor. Really breathe into the back body, all of the lower back, the mid back. Breathe into all those little spaces. See if you can make them a touch bigger. And then bring the hands back towards you. Come back to seated. Now bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a hug. So make sure that the heels are close towards the bottom. And then we can take hold either of the knees or the back of the thighs and just lift the legs up into our half navasana. So a boat posture. So the lower legs are parallel with the mat. And then if you're ready, we can extend the arms forward. So we're turning on the core muscles. Keep the spine nice and long. Lift the chest. Breathe. That's the most important part here. So lifting, lengthening through the spine. Keep the breath flowing. Core is turned on. As you exhale, just cross the right over the left. Pull your feet underneath you so you can come over and into your tabletop. So hands and knees. You can always take the legs to one side if that's easier. Make sure the hands are under shoulders, knees are directly underneath our hips. So we're in our tabletop, and then tuck the toes under. And just ensure that all 10 toes are tucked. The little toe can often escape. Push your bottom back onto your heels to give them a little stretch. Now, have a look at your hands. Make sure that they are spread. The middle finger is pointing forwards. Push down through those finger pads and the wrists. So we're not just dumping all the weight into our wrists. Then lift the knees off the floor. The core should engage here. So tummy is pulled in. Pull the belly button in. Now push your chest back on towards your thighs. So we've still got a really generous bend into both of our knees. So really generous knee bend. Push the chest further back. Now start lifting the tailbone and straighten the right leg. Push the right heel down to the floor. Good, and then bend both knees again, nice and deep, nice and deep. Push your chest back onto your thighs. Turn your tailbone, slowly lift it up, and then push the left heel down towards the floor. Good, and then let's have just a pedal out of the leg. So bending one leg than the other. The feet should be about hip distance apart, and the hands a little bit wider than that. So again, when I was talking about that grounding exercise, down dog is a really good place to check in with your foundations of your posture. So where your hands and your feet are in relation to each other, the different pressures you've got through your hands and your feet. You should always have equal pressure through both sides of the body. So my right side is a lot stronger, so I often find that I put more weight into the right side. So try to keep that equal pressure. And again, equal pressure through your hands and your feet as well. Now give the head a bit of a shake out to release the neck. So let it be nice and heavy and the neck be long. Start walking your feet up towards your hands. So the knees can be bent here just to allow us to get there. And then bring the hands onto the shins, lengthen through the spine, halfway lift. As you exhale, soften the knees and fold, bring your chest onto your thighs. Your fingertips just touch the floor. See if you can get your forehead towards your shins. So really bend into those knees. Slowly roll up the spine, really super slow. Engaging through the core, bring the head up, then take your arms up to the ceiling. Touch your palms together above you and bring them down into prayer at heart center. Good. Okay, let's bring those feet together. Let's get nicely warmed up. Let's inhale, lift up. Exhale, fold. Soften the knees. Really bend through the knees. Halfway lift. Bring the hands onto the shins. Lengthen through the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Soften the knees. Roll back up to standing. Slow roll all the way up. Take those arms up and overhead. Touch the palms together. Exhale, forward fold. We're just going to do that again. So soften the knees, bend them, chest is on the thighs. Forehead comes to the shins, halfway lift, lengthen. Hands can be on the shins here or the floor. Soften again, so knees soften, chest comes onto the thighs. Let the head drop down. Roll up on the inhale. Lift up nice and tall. Now grab onto your right wrist with your left hand. And then lift up. We're going to bend over to the right side. So we're getting a stretch through the side body. So the feet are together, the knees are together. We pop the hips out to the other side and really squeeze the ears with the arms. Then breathe into the left side of the body. See if you can go a touch further over. Good, and then bring it back to center. Change hands. So get hold of the other wrist, lift up. This time we're bending over to the left, popping the hips out towards the right. And so we should lengthen all the way up through the right side of the body. Good, breathe into the stretch. Good, bring it back to center and release the hands, forward fold. Fold over your legs, halfway lift, lengthen. Good, and then release the hands to the floor. Step back with the right foot. Drop the hips nice and low. So we're in a runner's lunge. The back leg is nice and straight. If you want to, you can bring it down to the floor. Place the right hand down, take the left arm up to the ceiling. So opening up into your twist, whether you are high with the knee off the floor or the knee is down, it's up to you. Now this left hand here, scoop it underneath the knee. So you're just hooking it underneath your knee. And then look forward. Can you then reach your right arm towards the front of the room? Okay, so if I face you, I'm just hooking under and reaching forward. Okay, so this hand isn't doing anything, it's just hooked there. Now, if the back leg is lifted, let's make it super strong and straight. Drop the heel down, release the arm out. We're going to inhale and lift up into warrior two. So we've got a really generous bend into our front knee. The back heel is grounded, the arms are at shoulder height, and we're looking towards our front middle finger. Good, take an inhale, straighten the legs, reach the arms up towards the ceiling, and then exhale, let's bend back into it. Do that twice more, so inhale, lift up. Exhale, bend. Once more, lift up. And then exhale, bend. Now reach the arm forward, turn the palm, and then reverse. So the left arm's coming all the way up towards the ceiling. This back hand can just tickle the back leg, or you can wrap it behind and try and hook into your thigh joint. But looking towards that top hand. If your neck's not great, you can look down towards your right foot if that feels better. But keep bending into that front knee. Good, breathe into the side body. So left rib cage is opening up. Cartwheel your hands down to frame that front foot. Let's step back to plank. High plank position. Push the floor away with your hands. Drop your knees down. Let's bring chin and chest to the mat with the elbows tight to the ribs. Sliding the chest through, opening up into our back bend. So go as deep as you feel comfortable here, just looking forward. Keep the knees down, bring your big toes together and sit back into child's pose and bring your forehead to the floor. A big inhale and exhale to release it. Lovely, well done. Again, breathe in and release, exhale. Come forward, tabletop, tuck the toes. Remember how we did before. Lift the knees just to hover, push your chest back to your thighs. Then lift the tailbone, slowly straighten up through the legs. If you wish, you can have another pedal of the legs here. So just one leg, then the other, pushing the heels to the mat. Okay, let's walk our feet forward, up to the top of the mat towards our hands. Bring the hands onto the shins, halfway lift. Exhale, bend the knees, deep forward fold. Come up on the inhale, so rise up. Hands up towards the ceiling, bring them into prayer at heart center. So we're going to do the 3 forward folds again like we did before. So lift up on the inhale, forward fold on the exhale. Halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Good, now fold again. Good, come up on the inhale, so rise up, sweep the arms up to the ceiling. Forward fold all the way down, really soft bend through those knees. Hands onto the shins, halfway lift, find length through the spine. Fold again, knees are soft. Come up on the inhale, all the way up, all the way up. Reach up, last time. Exhale, forward fold. Good. Lengthen through the spine. Fold, soften the knees, step back with the left foot. Good, let's sink down into the hips. Your choice once more of whether that back knee is up or down. Okay, so the left hand pushes into the mat, the right arm extends towards the ceiling in our twisted lunge, whether the knee is up or down is your choice. Look towards that top hand, really open the chest towards the side edge of the mat. Keep the hips low though, so you feel the stretch here coming through the right buttock. And then sweep that right hand just underneath the right leg. Square your hips and shoulders forward, and then can you reach that left arm towards the front? Okay, try not to rest your chest on this thigh, okay? Hover it above. Now, if that back leg is lifted, let's straighten it. Make it super strong. Lovely. Drop the back heel down. Cartwheel yourself up and open into your warrior two. Have a look at your feet. This front heel needs to be in line with the arch of the back foot. So just adjust the feet as you need to. I find because I've got wider hips, I often just need to tweak my feet to get them into the right position. So that's fine. Just be aware of where your feet are. So push that knee out towards your little toe. Bend deep into that right knee. So we're going to inhale, arms to the sky, straighten the leg. Exhale, bend. Got 3 of these. We do 3 of everything. Lift up on the inhale, bend deep on the exhale. And again, lift up. And exhale into your warrior 2. Reach forward, flip that right hand, reverse. So the right hand is going to the ceiling, that back hand tickles the back leg, or you can wrap it behind towards the hip crease. Reach up, reach back, look up. Too much on the neck, look down towards your left foot. Good, keep the core engaged, keep breathing up and through the side body into those right ribs. Keep bending deep into that right knee as well. That's it, lovely. Breathe. Keep the breath flowing throughout. And let's cartwheel the hands all the way down. Frame that front foot. Step back, plank. Push the floor away with your hands. Lower knees, chin and chest. Keep the elbows tight to the ribs. Push through. Shoulders are back and down. Come into your back bend. Keep the knees on the mat, big toes together. Sit back and child's pose. Forehead comes to the floor. You can always bring the hands underneath the head for your child's pose to give you a bit of support if you want to. Just allow the hips to drop onto the heels and breathe into the lower part of your spine, so the lumbar part of your spine, to really just release it and let it go. Lovely. Okay, come into tabletop. Just notice how everything's feeling. Do we feel a little bit warmer? Hopefully we do. Let's tuck the toes, lift the knees, push the chest back onto the thighs. Slowly straighten those legs, downward facing dog. Okay, lift up onto your toes. Then push your heels down. And again, lift up onto the toes, push the heels down. Good, lift up onto your toes. Now bend your knees, look forward and step or jump your feet to the top of the mat. Halfway lift, we lengthen. Exhale, soften the knees, forward fold. Come up on the inhale, sweep those arms up, up, up. Reach to the ceiling, bring your hands into prayer at heart center. Well done, bring your arms down by your side, palms are facing forward. Give your shoulders a roll back and down. Close your eyes, take a breath in, let it go. And then just breathe. And feel that energy that you've created within the body. We're going to build on that, build on the flow that we're working with. Awesome, well done. Inhale, take those arms up. Come down, forward fold. Halfway lift. Step back with your right foot. Big step. Let's sink those hips nice and low. Keep the right hand on the mat. Open up, left arm to the ceiling. Twist your lunge. Good, sweep the arm underneath the knee. Look forward, extend the right arm forward. Can you really not lean the chest on the thigh? Just extend the right arm forward. Push that back heel all the way back. Wonderful, well done. Drop the back heel down. Sorry, forgot where I was going then. Cartwheel the arms up and into your little warrior 2 position. So adjust the feet, remember, to get heel and arch in line if you need to. Raise the arms to the ceiling, straighten the leg. Then as you exhale, bend a little bit deeper, reach forward, flip the palm, then reverse. Left arm is to the ceiling. You can look up or look down towards your right foot. That back hand, maybe hook it in into the hip and thigh joint. Now straighten the front leg. You can keep the hand bound if you want, and then reach the arm forward, 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 then bring it down towards the foot, the floor, or you can use a block inside the foot or a book or anything, and into your Trikonasana. Now pull that right shoulder back. Look towards the ceiling. If your neck isn't great, you can just look down toward your toe. But pull that right shoulder back. Squeeze the left hip under. Lovely. You might want to float that arm up towards the ceiling as well. But I want you to be aware of both sides of your body. So both sides, from your hip to your armpit, try and lengthen. So even this side here, try to lengthen that side to get to the edge of the posture. Good. Take another breath here. And then as we exhale, we're just going to look down towards our foot. We're going to bend into that front knee again. rise up and into our warrior two, just like we started. Cartwheel both of the hands down to frame that front foot. So framing the foot, just move the block out of the way if you have one. Step back and into your plank position and either push back downward facing dog or join me with a vinyasa. We're going to lower either chaturanga or knees, chin and chest. Push through into your back bend. Roll over the toes, lift your hips. Downward facing dog. Lift up onto your toes, bend your knees, look forward, step or jump to the top of the mat. Halfway lift. Now fold. Good. Come up on the inhale, bring it all the way up. Exhale, hands into prayer at heart center. Well done. Let's do the same on the other side. Just take a breath in here, turn your palms forward and let it go. Relax those shoulders. Just reset. Feel the contact of your feet on the mat. So feel the earth beneath your feet. Just noticing the foundations of your Tadasana, your mountain posture. Inhale, raise your arms up. Look up, exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, lengthening through the spine. Hands to the floor, step back, left foot. Sink those hips nice and low. Keep the back leg straight or the knee can lower. Left hand to the floor, right arm reaches to the ceiling, look towards your top hand. Really opening up through the chest, so pull that right shoulder back. And then sweep the right hand underneath the leg. Square your shoulders forward as you reach the left arm forward. Good, so try not to lean on that front leg. Lift the chest slightly. We're just hovering. Everything is straight. Let's straighten that back leg and extend the fingertips further forward. Drop the back heel down. Cartwheel your hands open and into your warrior two. Remember, move the feet if necessary. Take an inhale, arms to the sky, straighten the leg, and then bend back into it. See if we can get this thigh parallel to the floor. Just always make sure you can see your big toe too. Let the shoulders be soft. Look, reach forward, flip and reverse. Take that back hand behind, hook it in. You can always get hold of it, give it a bit of help to get it round there if you want to. Look up or down, depending on the neck. Now we're going to go into our bound triangle. So straighten the front leg. Bring the right arm forward, keeping that your left hand hooked in. Reach, then tilt the hand down to the foot, the floor, or maybe a block. And then with this shoulder, we're pushing it all the way back. Push it back, look beyond the shoulder. Too much on the neck, look down towards your right foot. And then squeeze that right hip under. Nice. All right, if you want to, we can then extend the arm to the ceiling and get our full posture. So wherever you want to take your Trikonasana, but we want to lengthen both sides of the body. So lengthen from your waist all the way to your armpit on both sides. Squeeze the right hip under. Pull the left shoulder back. And breathe, another breath here. Now to slowly come out, we're going to bend back into that front knee. Bring yourself back into your warrior two. Cartwheel your hands down to frame the front foot. So we're in our lunge position, step back, and we should be in plank. Lovely. So we can either just push back into downward facing or join me for a vinyasa. We're lowering, chaturanga. Push through, back bend, all the way back to downward facing dog. Take some breaths here. So 3 to 5 breaths. If you want to bring your knees down and take child's pose, please feel free. Grab a drink if you need one, now is a good time. Well done, nice and strong. Hopefully that temperature has increased and that our heart rate has increased also, started working. Give the head a bit of a shake out here. When you're ready, lift onto your toes, bend your knees, look forward, step or jump the feet to the top of the mat, halfway lift, and then fold. Soften the knees off as you fold. Good, come up on the inhale. All the way up, reach up, hands come into prayer at our heart center. Well done. Release your arms down by your side, palms are facing forward, and we're going to find our balance next. All right, so we're going to start by putting the weight into our right foot. So spread out all of those toes on the right foot. Maybe your hands can start on your hips, or we can have hands in Anjali Mudra in prayer at heart center. So we're going to lift that left knee into our chest. And then we're going to take it down, but not touch the floor, just hover. And then we're going to lift it to the outside. And then we're going to bring it down, just to hover. And then lift to center and lower. And then out to the side. Try not to lean your body. And then in front, knee to chest. Lower to hover. Knee out to the side. Woo. See if we can get a little bit higher. My hips are clicking. Bring it to center. Good. Last time. Knee out to the side. Now we're going to get hold of the foot and guide it in for a tree posture. Whether it's above or below the knee joint is up to you. Just no excess pressure on the joint. And then hands can join back in prayer. You might want to extend your prayer up towards the ceiling. You might not. You can choose different arm variations, whether you want to grow your branches, whether we want to stay here. Whoops. If we fall out, just come back in. I've got super slippy leggings on today, so I'm going to blame it on that. If you push the leg and the foot into each other equally, it should stay put. But just really work on pushing this knee out to the side and finding some balance and some stillness. Maybe close down the eyes if you wish to have a challenge. Lovely. So wherever this leg is, we're just going to bring the knee back up out to the side. Bring it down, hover, inhale, bring it to center, and then release it down onto the mat. Well done. Give the leg a bit of a shake out. So when we balance, we tend to feel it in the other leg, the one that's stabilizing us. So give that one a little bit of a walk out. We'll do the same on the other side. So spreading out the toes on the left foot. Hands can be hips or prayer, your choice. You ready? So hover that foot off the floor and then bring knee to center and hover and then out to the side and low. You'll find one side easier than the other. So bring your knee to center. I haven't worked out which one's easy for me yet. And then to the side. Good. Let's really get into those hips. And then to the center. I like to do this with a flexed foot, but if you want to point it, you can. That's fine. We've got one more here. So knee to center and then lower and then out to the side. Take hold of it and guide it in. As I said, above or below the knee joint, please. And then wherever you want to go with your arms. Extend your prayer, find your branches. Maybe close your eyes. Maybe keep the hands on your hips or at heart center. Just check in with that left foot. Are those toes gripping for dear life? Or are they still spread out and helping you balance? You sometimes find imbalances that your toes go into overdrive and you just cling on as if you're going to fall off the mat, but you're really not. So stay nice and tall, zip up through the midline of the body. So the core is nicely active here to help us with our balance. Our gaze is steady and forwards if the eyes aren't closed. Okay, so bring your hands back. Prayer or onto the hips, it's up to you. And then take that knee out to the side. Lower it just to hover. Bring it to center. And exhale, release it to the mat. Wiggle out those legs. Fabulous, well done. Give them a shake. Shake it out. Come back up to the top of your mat if you're not there already. Take an inhale, lift up, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Step back with the right foot. Sink those hips nice and low. Open up with the left arm. Reach it towards the ceiling. Sweep it underneath the leg. Reach the right arm forward. Drop the back heel down. Spin your arms open and into your warrior two. Raise your arms to the ceiling. Straighten that front leg. Exhale, we bend nice and deep. Flip the front palm. Reverse it. Good. As you come back up, straighten that front leg. Go straight into Trikonasana. So the hip pushes back. We reach forward and we tilt down. Finding our triangle. Look towards that top hand. If it's all right for the neck. Wonderful. Bend back into that front knee. Inhale, rise up into your warrior two. Now, we're going to keep the knee bent as we drop the left fingertips to the inside of the left foot. or the elbow can just come onto the knee. Take the right arm up, then hook it behind. See if you can get into that little crease between the hip and the thigh. Good. And then if you want to go full bind, drop the left shoulder down, take the arm under and interlace your fingers behind your back. Now you always want to keep this ear, so your left ear over your left front foot at all times. So we continue squeezing that left hip under and pulling back through the right shoulder. Lovely. Release your hands back down to the floor. So if you can, hand onto the floor inside the foot, maybe use a block. Take the right arm up, and then now I want you to straighten the front leg and pull the toes up towards your face. So pull the toes up so we get a lovely stretch coming through the back of the calf muscle here as well. As we exhale, cartwheel the hands down to frame your front foot. Now this leg, we're going to drive it back up into the sky. Then take a three-legged dog and then bend the knee and open up the hip. All right. Take a breath here and then step the foot to the outside of the hand. So we should end up with our left foot outside our left hand, our back knee can come down and we're in a half lizard position. We're just going to take some breaths here to stretch out the hip. So I find it quite nice to just have a little rock from side to side, see how the hips are feeling. If you want to make it stronger, lift that back knee off the floor. But this is plenty, strong enough for my hips today. So just rocking the hips side to side. If you want to take it a little bit deeper, we can start lowering down onto our forearms as well. So come down to forearms, that back knee can be up or down for this one too. So it's up to you whether you're on your forearms or on your hands, but just work into that hip and find this. There's always like a little sticky point where you just need to stop and breathe for a moment. So just work on that, really tune into your hips. Good. Okay, so if you're on forearms, just bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. If that right knee is up, just pop it down onto the floor so you're the same as me in a half lizard lunge. Then we're just going to move the hips back and pull the left toes up towards us. So fingertips can be on the floor. We can bring them a little bit higher up if we need to, just to get into this hamstring stretch here. So really pulling those toes up, maybe give the toes a hand as well, pull them closer. Lovely. And then exhale, let it go. Bring the hands to the top. Let's step that foot back and into our downward facing. Well done. We're going to take a vinyasa here. If you would prefer to miss it out, then just stay in down dog. So come forward to plank, lower to chaturanga, push through into your back bend and all the way back. Downward facing dog. From downward facing, walk your feet up towards your hands, coming to the top of the mat. Lift the chest, lengthen the spine, halfway lift, soften the knees, forward fold. Rise up slowly on the inhale, reach it up, arms to the ceiling, and then let's go straight back down, forward fold. Nice, super slowly, knees are soft, halfway lift, so lengthen the spine. Let's step back now with the left foot, so fingertips to the floor, left foot steps back, we sink into the hips. So we've just got this last bit to do on this side. So keeping that left hand down, reach the right arm up. Sweep the arm underneath the leg and extend the left arm forward, straightening the back leg, making that line nice and long. Drop the heel down, open up into warrior two. Nice and deep bend into this front knee. Reach the arms to the ceiling. And then bend back into it. Flip and reverse. So get some length through the right rib cage. And then as you come up, straighten the front leg and then just cartwheel the hands all the way down to come into triangle. Doesn't matter how far down the leg this hand is. As long as you keep pushing that left shoulder back. Turn to look towards your top hand if it's okay for your neck. Lovely. Good, let's bring it back up. Rebend the right knee. And then you can either bring elbow to knee or fingertips to the floor inside the foot and the left hand goes to the sky. Then take the left hand behind. See if it can hook in to where the hip and thigh meet. And if you want to go for the full bind, we drop the right shoulder, take the arm under and interlace behind the back. But we're always trying to keep the right ear over the right foot at all times. Keep pulling back through this left shoulder. If it's too much, fingertips can be on the floor or elbow can be on the knee. As long as we're pushing that right hip under, so we get a lovely stretch coming through the inner thigh here. That's it. Good. Well done. Take another breath. Slowly releasing out. So coming up, releasing the hands down to frame that front foot. Lift your back heel off, so you should be in a runner's lunge position. And then the right leg is going to kick back up into the sky with a bent knee and into our three-legged dog. Okay? So three-legged dog, so the right knee is the highest point of the posture, hopefully. And then step that right foot to the outside of the right hand and the left knee can come down. So we are in our half lizard lunge. So our hands are inside our right foot. Okay, so if you want to make it harder, lift that back knee off the floor. Have a little move around with the hip. It's nice to rock from side to side here. See where the sticky points are. If you want to go deeper, then the forearms can lower carefully down to the mat. When that happens, often this knee will push out to the side. Try to keep your knee next to your shoulder if you can, but it will drop out a touch. But just keep trying to activate into the inner thigh to keep them close. So play around with it with your lizard, whichever variation of the posture. There's so many variations on lizard. Just find which one works for you. So if you are on forearms, come back onto your hands. If your left knee is up, place it down on the mat. So you're like me in a half lizard lunge. And then we're going to move the hips back. Maybe creep the fingertips back as we pull the right toes up towards our face. Now just make sure that the hips are still square to the top edge of your mat here as well. Maybe get the hand and pull it towards you. So we should get into the back of this leg. And if you turn the crease underneath the right butt cheek towards the back of the room, you'll lengthen the hamstring even more. All right, well done. Walk your hands back to the top of the mat. Tuck the left toe under. And so we can step back with the right foot and into downward facing dog. We're going to do a final vinyasa here. Join me if you want to. Come forward to plank. Lower to chaturanga. Push through and into your back bend. Exhale into your downward facing dog. From here, knees go mat distance apart. The big toes come to touch and we sit back onto our heels. Either hands underneath the head or the forehead can just rest on the mat. And all we need to do is take a few deep breaths in and out as we rest in our child's pose. All right, well done. Okay, so we've just got a little bit of time left before we go into Shavasana. So we're going to have a go at putting some pressure into our head. So I know that Dory's been working on her headstand. So if you are comfortable with headstand practice, then please feel free to just go ahead and have a little play around with your headstands. Just please be mindful of what is around you. If you are not used to doing headstands, we'll start off with rabbit posture, which is just getting used to having pressure in your head. Okay, so rabbit posture, we are kneeling, the heels are tucked underneath our bottom, and we fold forward, a bit like child's pose, but then get a hold of your heels. So if you get a hold of your heels, and then it's quite difficult to talk whilst I'm there, so I'll just say it all now. We try to tuck the forehead onto your knees so that the crown of your head is on the mat. So you want, if you can, your forehead touching your knees. And then once we're tucked in nice and tight, we lift the hips, okay? And then we just feel the pressure going into the head. So if you're with me, bring yourself down, forehead onto the knees,
Carry the head onto the mat. And then raise your hips, but keep hold of your heels.
And you should feel some pressure into your head and a really nice stretch going down the length of the spine. So if you are familiar with headstand practice and you want to have a go at rabbit, have a quick go at this as well. It's a really nice posture because you get a stretch through the back of the neck and into the top part of the spine here. When you feel like you want to come out of it, just come out of it, have a rest and then go into it again. Just do it a couple of times and see how it feels for you, okay?
So really squeezing the forehead onto their knees, lifting the hips up, keeping hold of the heels, and use that as leverage to lift your hips a little bit higher. And then when you're ready to exhale, just bring it back down. Just allow the spine to settle, allow the energy to equal, because sometimes you can feel a little bit lightheaded when you come up as well. All right, fabulous. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is headstand prep. So for headstand prep in yoga, we do a basket headstand because it's a really good way of supporting the neck muscles. So we don't put too much pressure on the head. We use our strength in our shoulders to help take the weight out of the head. If you don't want to do it, please don't, okay? You can just carry on with rabbit posture, or you can just do this the very first part, all right? So just watch me. So we interlace the fingers, and then if you put like your little finger, the little fingers on top of each other, it will stop them getting crushed. And then we bring the elbows down to the floor. We want the elbows to be shoulder distance apart, and then we open up our basket. That's where we're going to put the back of the head into. So I'm going to put the crown of my head on the mat, and then my basket goes around the back of my head. So I like take the basket and just cradle my head. Now from here, I'm going to push into my elbow so that my shoulder strength kicks in, and I should be able to just lift and lower my head off the floor. So I'm taking the weight out of my head. Okay, so that's the first thing. First part of prep is just staying in this position and lifting your hips up. If you want to go deeper, then tuck the toes and lift the knees off the floor, and we come into our inversion shape. All right, so this is just headstand prep again, pushing into the elbows so that the shoulder strength takes over. And then we can start walking our feet as close to the head as we can so that we can get the hips nice and high. And just stay and take a few breaths here, but keep pushing into the elbows so that we've got that shoulder strength. And then when you've had enough, bring your knees down and just release and come back into a kneeling position. So those of you who've got cameras on, I have no clue what you're doing. I'm just hoping you might be having a little shavasana already. That's fine. But just always be mindful and always listen to your body. All right. One of the main things that happens when people go into this headstand is as soon as they come down, as soon as they kind of put the head on the floor, the elbows go wider. Always keep your elbows shoulder distance apart, because then it gives you a really strong foundation to work from. All right. So the very final thing, if you want to, is to just maybe take it up into a little tuck of a headstand. I'll just show you it if you are interested. So elbows, shoulder distance, hands interlaced, little fingers on top of each other. Open your basket, pop your head into it. So hold the back of your head, push into your elbows, let the shoulders strength take over, tuck the toes, lift the knees, walk the feet towards the head. So our hips are nice and high, and then we just lift ourselves up into a tiny little tuck. You might find that you go up for about a millisecond and then you fall back down. That's fine. I don't want you to kick up, all right? Because if we start kicking up for headstand, that's when we end up kicking up and then falling over the other way. So it needs to be really controlled, and we use our core strength to squeeze and lift ourselves into that tuck position. Okay, so it's a really good one to practice at home. I recommend maybe against a wall, but you do become reliant on a wall sometimes. So if you have got the courage to do it without a wall, go for it. Just stick loads of pillows around you on the floor. If you fall, just bring your chin into your chest and
and just laugh about it. All right, we all fall out of headstands. But it's just a really good thing to have a little practice at. Challenge yourself at home. So we have, quick recap, rabbit, which is holding the ankles, head down, tuck, and lift the hips. The next stage is to bring our basket in, elbows shoulder distance, and we just come into this position like this, stay on our knees. The next stage is to lift the knees off the floor, walk the feet in, and then finally we can come into our tuck, perhaps. All right, so wherever you're working, there's plenty to choose from. If you have taken your practice already further than that, then you'll be in a full headstand. So there you go, that's your challenge for March. All right, well done. We're going to come into our Shavasana. I did promise you a longer one, but as always, I've talked a little bit more than I was supposed to. Nothing new there then. I just want you to bring yourself into a seated position for me. We're just going to check on the neck. So if you reach your left hand down to the floor, and then just drop your right ear down towards your right shoulder. And then start walking those left fingertips further away, and you should feel a stretch coming down the side of the neck here. So just breathe into that stretch. And now with your chin, turn your chin slightly down toward your chest more, and it just takes the stretch into a different part of your neck. So bring the chin slowly down. Again, you can creep the fingers away. And then carefully release and bring it back to center. So let's take the right arm out towards the side, drop left ear down towards left shoulder. Creep those fingers away. So we really get some length going on down the neck. So just breathe into the stretch. And then turn the chin slightly down towards the chest. Just changing the dynamics of the stretch ever so much. A tiny little bit. Creep those fingers away. And then bring it back to center. Hands onto the knees. Just drop your chin down onto your chest. And slowly raise the chin up and take it up towards the ceiling. And then try and put your bottom teeth over your top teeth when you're in that position. So take your chin as high as you can, and then put your bottom teeth over your top teeth. and it stretches out underneath the chin and the front of the neck. You can't talk when you're in that position. Just stretch. And then release. Well done. Just give the shoulders a roll back and down. So for your Shavasana, for the final relaxation, if you want to stay seated, please feel free, stay as you are. Maybe sit on something if you want to get a jumper or some slippers, go for it. Or lay down in Shavasana like we did at the beginning. So coming onto your back with either the feet together, the knees knocking together, the feet on the floor, the knees knocking together, or the legs extended and the arms out by your sides. Just get into a position where you feel comfortable, where you can relax. And do the 3 cleansing breaths like we did at the beginning. So breathing in through the nostrils and then exhaling out through the mouth and allowing yourself to just completely surrender to the mat as you exhale. So breathe in some relaxation, exhale out any toxins, any stagnant energy, just let it go. And then when you feel like you've done enough of those, just allow your breath to return to its own natural rhythm as you surrender and sink into your relaxation. Remember the grounding exercise I talked about at the beginning, just noticing the contact of your body on the ground. That's a nice one to do at the end of practice. Feel the contact through your shoulder blades, your hips, the backs of your arms, the back of your head, etc. And just notice how it all feels. Well done. Bring your focus to your breath. Don't change it anyway, just notice how long it is, how deep it is. It may be quite short and shallow now, that's fine. Just recognize those feelings within the body as you relax and as you surrender. What happens? Are there any particular reactions in any parts of the body? Is there anywhere where you're holding tension that you don't even realize you're holding it, whether it's in your hands, your fingers, maybe your jaw, your forehead? Often the eyes are still darting around at this point. Just try to let them be still. Your final few moments in Shavasana. Just enjoy this feeling of physical and mental calm. If you wish to stay a little longer, please feel free. If you would like to conclude our practice together, then inhale a bit deeper and start finding some movements just with fingers and toes. So really small movements to begin with. Move in a way that feels right to your body, whether that is to take a stretch of the arms overhead, so taking that pencil stretch, or maybe giving your knees a hug into your chest. Move in a way that feels right. Take your time. We'll meet back in a seated position facing forwards. So make your way there. And when you arrive in a seated position, sit with a tall spine, relax your shoulders. Just rest the hands on the knees or in the lap. Just check that the energy is equal within and around you. If you stayed in seated for your Shavasana, just maybe change the cross of the legs. And then everybody bring your hands into prayer at heart center. We all brought our energy to practice today, so thank everyone else who has shared their energy with you for this practice. It has been my pleasure, as always, to guide you. Namaste. Thank you.